All right, thank you. Nice to meet you. My name is Stijn Baan, and I work for a company called Koppert Cress. Koppert Cress is a family-owned company, and we grow, as you might call them here, microgreens. I'm not going to talk too much about what we do. I believe in this vision. This is the why, or the golden circle. I can talk about what we do. I love to do that in front of chefs, because that's where we do business. I can tell you a little bit about how we do it, but what really makes me exciting is to talk to you about why we do this. And I like to find out the why. We figured it out for our company, but also for agriculture, or at least horticulture, and also for restaurants. I think it's very crucial that we look at those things that drive us beyond profit. I really love the idea of purpose-driven companies. I hope to be perceived as one day. I really think that that will be the future for all of us. To quickly go to what, this is kind of how the products look like. I saw some microgreens also on the dishes here. The salad pea is very popular here in the UK. We love that one. But this is how we do it. We are wordless without chefs. We travel the world, we find different crops, we find different plants. We have very funky ones that have the flavor of oysters or camembert in a leaf. All fun, niche products, which are worthless if we cannot convince chefs to use it. So we partner up with chefs. That's how we do it. And we like to work with the big names. They are our ambassadors. And that's how we actually got to be able to build our business. Chefs, they tend to travel. So chefs, they go on all the way to Dubai. They also request our products. So in the last few years, our company has exploded. We have over 250 employees. That was never the game, but that's how it ends up. And we are now in 4 different continents growing our products. And it's really great, and it's been a great adventure, especially working with chefs, because we make ingredients, but they make it into a dish, and that's something very important. But why I do it, I strongly believe in this. Let food be medicine, and medicine die food. This is something that is strong in our family. This is one I've raised. My father, who started the company, used to work for Syngenta. So he knows a lot about seeds. He traveled the world, so he knows about different cultures. And we love food. We love good food. So those 3 elements are still in our company. And what triggered me when I was young was this book. It's actually a Dutch title, but it's Eating Against Cancer. It sounds so easy, but there's a lot of truth in this book. And a disclaimer, I'm not a scientist. I did not do all the research, but these are the things that inspired me, and I take that and I built that towards the vision of our company. There are several factors that can cause cancer. And this is already a graph from 2001, I believe, but there's a lot of truth in that. There's some elements like alcohol or lack of exercise. The small elements, they're my favorite, but then there's also the genetics. We have a genetic tendency to get cancer or not. There is our smoking habits, which I really hope that since 2001 it has increased, but that would mean that the other ones actually increased in size. But there's also not eating the right food. Not eating the right food is a huge cause of cancer. And that doesn't mean that you eat bad food. I heard it today before as well. There's no good or bad food. There's bad diets. But this is not eating the things that our body needs. We are missing certain things in our diet. This is where it gets a little bit technical. When I talk about cancer, I talk about cancer really as if it's a normal topic, but it's a topic that everybody is facing one day or another in their families or friends. Our body builds cells every day, millions of it. And sometimes one of them is damaged. And there's a big chance that your body will kill that damaged cell, or that damaged cell will at least not spread. But then there's also a very small chance that a damaged cell will grow into multiple damaged cells. And this can take up many years, but at one point it's feasible. We go to a scan, we see that somewhere in our body we have developed a tumor. And it takes a long time. And it's sad, and it's ripping families apart. But there's an opportunistic point to it when I wrote that book. There's certain things that you can do, and this is where science and marketing kind of missed each other. And it frustrates me sometimes. You can block the growth cells that are damaged. You can do it with sulforaphane. Who here knows what sulforaphane is? All right. Then there's also the blocking of the promotion of the damaged cells. Let's call resveratrol. Who knows what resveratrol is? It's mainly in red wine, so a lot of people know it, but there's a we miss the marketing sense in naming these essential things for our body. I'm not even pronouncing all of them. I'm not even going to dare to it. But where it comes down to is the green pharmacy. And this is how I translate them. So you have sulforaphane, it's in broccoli. You have your lycopene, which is in your tomatoes. The resveratrol could be in aubergine, or the carotene in carrots. These things that our body needs, we can find in plants. So it will be obvious that I would love to stand on stage, and I try to do it as much as possible. That's why I'm grateful for this opportunity. And I would say broccoli is healthy, because broccoli contains sulforaphane, and when sulforaphane goes in our body, it prevents our body from building up cancer cells. We did that. We had a website. We have a product which is a broccoli Cress. And then we got this letter, which is a fine from the Dutch food authorities that says you are not allowed to make a health statement about broccoli. You're not a scientist, you're not a university, you are not allowed to make this. This was a fine. This fine was about 680 euros. My father here, I don't know if a lot of people know my father, let's keep it that way, is a very stubborn guy. So he refused to pay that fine. He refused it. What happens? The fine becomes a little bit more expensive. And he said, I'm still not going to pay for it. Okay. So he turned it around. He said, can I just do jail time equal to the amount of the fine, which would be for him 2 days? So he wrote to our minister at that time, can I please do it over the weekends? I'm working very hard to promote agriculture and vegetable products. I want to do that Monday to Friday, if need be in the weekends. But please lock me up for 2 days. This was a good marketing. It didn't really help the family relationships because my mother was not so pleased. But it literally would take somebody who was eager to go to jail to make a point on that. And it went to Head of Birth, the minister at that time, said, okay, fine, please don't mention it anymore. You don't have to pay the fine. It's done. Don't worry about it. Just don't mention it anymore. Well, here I am today, showing you this. When people visit Koppert Cress, it's right there in the sign. When our queen visits Koppert Cress, we show it to her. And we see that as a real challenge, or at least, I don't want to call it a problem, but it's something that is stopping us from telling the nice stories about our products. And I do find it's essential that we tell stories. More about broccoli. A lot of studies about broccoli. What I figured out that I'm not a good reader. I'm not going to read all these scientific reports about why broccoli is healthy. We need to find that information and make it a little bit smaller. That's why I have this small video. Sorry for the nudity. There's some Dutch language behind it, so I'll do my best to explain it, and I can explain it in less than 1 minute. What they do, they take the widest piece of the bottom, of the human body, which is the bottom, which have never seen sunlight before. They put a UV lamp on it, and they see not if, but when she's going to get sunburn, because she will get sunburn. Then she's going to eat for 90 days tomato paste, because that's the most consistent way of levels of lycopene. Then after 90 days, they take the other cheek. And then they find out that she's less likely to get sunburned because of the tomatoes. Funny fact, right? But then if we realize that skin burn, can also cause skin cancer. And then I live close to the beach. I see all these young people going to the beach when it's sunny, trying to put all things on but get a tan. I think that's a missed opportunity for all tomato growers. Absolutely. Just before the summer, promote it, tell that story. It took me 1 minute. Somebody can probably do it better in 30 seconds. If that story goes out there, there's something should be happening with the consumption of tomatoes for these youngsters that we try to explain it to. Another reason why I love to talk about tomatoes is because I do not grow tomatoes. So I can tell you that tomatoes are healthy, and I will not get penalized for it. A little bit of this is how we test our broccoli. not that interesting. Actually, this is how we do it. I put this in because it looks complicated. But what it actually does, it shows us this. Back to our broccoli cress, of which I'm not saying that it's healthy. I'm just showing these numbers. That the levels of sulforaphane in one sprout are 0.13 milligrams. And if you would take 100 grams of raw but fresh broccoli, you have 0.2. So by just eating that one sprout, you already get such an amount of sulforaphane inside. We have a partner in Japan who is allowed to say that broccoli will help your body fight forms of cancer. I'm not saying it, I'm saying that they are allowed to tell it. This is why I'm optimistic. Not because I have this overpriced watch, because there's a lot of technology nowadays that's going to help us bring out the facts that we need. This lens, I've been saying it's going to introduce next year, but it might take longer, but there's people working on it. This lens, when you put it in your your eye, will tell you your sugar level. So it will tell you the lunch that you just had, that's the reason why you're now falling asleep, because you have too much energy and you're crashing down. So it's going to give us information about our bodies. I think that's very important. And our bodies, my phone knows almost everything about me. It tells me on a scale how much I weigh. And it also, I'm doing it now for several years, it shows me last year Christmas, this year Christmas, and the year before that. And there's a pattern, I can tell you. I think we all know that. So this is where I'm optimistic, and I think a lot of big data will tell us, and we will come to the conclusion that we need to eat more vegetables. It's the green pharmacy. There's so many beautiful things inside these vegetables that we need, which our bodies are asking for. So for me, that's the why of our company. That's why I'm so passionate, and that's why I'm so grateful for working with chefs, because they are the ones putting it on the plate. Another why would be restaurants. We haven't spoken a lot about chefs. You did, thank you. Do you know the meaning of the word restaurant? It's to restore. We did not go out to restaurants for luxury. We went to restaurants because we were traveling. We were walking half a day. You would find a place to rest, to sleep, and to go on. I had a great dinner yesterday in London. I did not restore. No, I enjoyed, which is also important. But the restaurant is so crucial for us because we tend to go out to dinner. We enjoy going out to dinner. We don't eat at home anymore, so the restaurants, they can play a way bigger role in restoring our bodies. This is my father, very proud of what he achieved so far. And this is our restaurant. We open up a restaurant. We talk a lot about healthy food, and then we say, okay, enough talk, let's put it in practice. So we have this principle, it's called Dutch cuisine, and it's 80-20, so it's 80% vegetables, 20% meat. I'm trying to reduce that. I want to make it 100% vegetables, because we are excited about vegetables. We're not against meat, but we are in the production of vegetables, and we want to show that vegetables are exciting. We show it to chefs, and we show it to consumers, and we show it to our staff. So we have 250 people working at Koppert Cress, and we give them a free meal every day, which is kind, and we find it as good employmentship, but the tax office thinks differently. They see it as a kind of salary. And all the meals that we provide are taxed by 80%. My father, the stubborn guy that I was talking about, he's now refusing to pay tax. And there's two things certain in life. But he refuses to pay tax in every opportunity that he or we get to tell that we're not paying tax over this. We find it ridiculous. We find it as a punishment tax, because we give good food. If we have safety shoes, then we have to provide it, because it's by regulation that we have it. So we're now finding different ways. We are in discussion with the tax office. I don't know where it's going, but we have different ideas that we have. One of them is mandatory quality testing for every employee every day. Test how our products are with a sandwich or in a salad, or every day mandatory testing. They were not open to that suggestion yet, but... And then I come to an eye-opener about what we do. So we had, this is 2 years ago, we opened the restaurant and we told all our team members, people, we're going to have every day a free lunch with at least 200 grams of vegetables. and this is the kind of reaction we did not get or get. It's not about the 200 grams of vegetables. We know it's healthy, we know you should eat them, but we missed such an important element. And that's the chef. We have Chef Robert, he comes in the kitchen and he makes these beautiful dishes that you want to eat every day because they are exciting. And we talked about Koppert Cress, architectuur aromatique. I think the future of Koppert Cress will also be functional. So we add something to your diet which is not taste or is not good looking food, but it's really changing something in our body. But it has to start with architectuur. If it doesn't look good, if it doesn't look tasty, then people are not going to touch it. And it has to taste good, otherwise people don't want to eat it. So that is one of the things that I took out of it. And then quickly want to look at the why of agriculture. And then I'm wrapping this up. This is a picture that inspired me. This is a painting of good governmentship. And it's actually from Carolyn Steele. She wrote the book Hungry City. She's an architect looking at agriculture. And there's a wall between the city and the rural lands. And this is talking about the perfect balance. If there's a good balance, then everything is okay. But if there's a disbalance, then people burn down the cities, they burn everything down, they have to start again. So we need to find a better balance between production and city life. Thank you.